Well, hold on, because the Senate is a major roadblock. Democrats aim to use the bill to gin up pressure to end the filibuster, allowing the left to drive forward their agenda without needing any Republican support. Here with reaction, Senator John Kennedy, Republican from Louisiana. Senator, great to have you on the program. An important day, a lot to get to. Let's start with statehood and what this means and what Republicans can do in the Senate if they want to block this.
Well, I'm rather fond of our Constitution. I know you are too, Harris. And I think the House bill is unconstitutional. I was reading an interview by Mr. Jerry Nadler about the bill. He's chairman of House Judiciary, and I think his arguments for this bill are typical. I've seen Mr. Nadler's legal analysis. I don't mean to be cruel, but if you want to hide something from him, put it in a law book. I mean, this issue was settled in 1790. Our founders did not want the seat of the federal government to be influenced by any particular state. So they created a District of Columbia, a non-state. And the land was given by Virginia and Maryland. It's not in the Constitution, but our founders talked in terms of having a district that was, I think the language was 10 miles square. Now, can that be changed? Sure, but you've got to amend the Constitution. Their bill also, I think, is probably going to be found unconstitutional on the 23rd Amendment. They create this new mini district and give it, which will have a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand people, and give this mini district 3 electoral votes, which is going to disenfranchise a lot of other people. So I'm not especially worried about it. I think it's anybody who knows a law book from a J. Crew catalog knows it's unconstitutional.
Just real quickly, any of the Democrats you're talking with, I mean, you hear the names of Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Xi of Arizona being talked about on other issues. Do they apply here in terms of supporting Republicans?
Well, I don't know yet. We haven't seen the bill. I think most people on Capitol Hill, and I think most Americans, understand that this bill is not about civil rights. It's not really about enfranchising or disenfranchising people. This is about Mr. Nadler and Ms. Pelosi and Senator Schumer and others trying to consolidate liberal power. Because I think for the longest time, the District of Columbia, which can vote in a presidential election, is heavily Democratic.
I want to scoot to this. Los Angeles Lakers player LeBron James is facing some backlash. And Senator, I know that even on Capitol Hill, they're talking about this all over the country because he's got such a high profile, huge. And it's over this deleted tweet, which says, "You're next," over a picture of the Columbus, Ohio police officer who shot and killed 16-year-old Malaya Bryant. Caught on body cam, apparently she was attacking 2 other girls with a knife. LeBron James later wrote this. By the way, again, he deleted that tweet. We hadn't seen the police officer's picture until he put it out there. "I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate," he said. This isn't about one officer, it's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism. Senator Kennedy, your reaction.
Well, at first, I think Mr. James did the right thing by pulling down the tweet. Look, Harris, I admire his passion. He's clearly a leader for many Americans for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is his extraordinary physical skills. I think sometimes Mr. James has more zeal than wisdom. He doesn't wait on the facts. I mean, he can go from zero to screw everyone pretty fast. And I wish I was as sure of anything as Mr. James sometimes seems to be sure of everything. I don't want to be overly critical, but on a situation like this, you have to get the facts. And what happened in Columbus was horrible. I mean, a cop had to choose between two lives in a split second. And I know some have said, President Biden, when he was running, said, well, the cop ought to just shoot the gun or the knife out of their hands. I mean, this isn't Silverado or Deadwood. You know, this isn't the movies. Cops sometimes have to make quick decisions, and we have to wait for the facts and the investigation.
As you say, the investigation. Real quickly, though, LeBron James is coming under heat because this appeared to incite violence. And, you know, I mean, even Twitter's not responding. They normally would slap a sticker on something like this or suspend the account or something like that. And then what about the commissioner of the league that he plays in? I mean, it is crickets. And it seemed like he was definitely calling for violence to some. What do you say?
Well, look, I wish he hadn't tweeted it out, and I suspect he does too. And he did the right thing by pulling it down, and I mean it. I admire his passion, but you've got to balance your zeal with wisdom. And if you're in a leadership position, you can't just shoot from the hip. Now, and we have to disabuse this idea, people of this idea, which I don't think Americans share, that every cop, many of whom are racial minorities, every cop gets up every morning and goes to work hoping for the opportunity to hurt somebody, including but not limited to a racial minority. I don't think that's true. I just don't. I don't think most cops are racist. Some probably are, and we need to weed them out. But if you hate cops just because they're cops, you're being unfair and unrealistic, and you're not fooling the American people. They don't believe that.
Yeah, you talked about the choice he made in that moment and had to make based on the knife in that young woman's hand. What were his other options? We don't know yet because we don't know all the facts, and we'll cover them when they happen.
And what I hate so much about that, one of our strengths in this country, Harris, is our diversity. And diversity, because of some of our leaders, has become division. And it's tearing this country apart. And people need to think before they speak. And I give Mr. James the benefit of the doubt, but if you're going to be a leader, you've got to lead, and you've got to choose your words carefully.
I'll get to this now. There are new details emerging on that Columbus shooting. A neighbor who will join us a little bit later in the program told the New York Post he watched the incident after it happened on his home security video. It was secured above his garage so he could see, and says that Ma'Khia Bryant was in full attack mode. Those are his words. And he believed cops had no choice but to shoot. But the White House portrayed the incident quite differently. Watch.
She was a child. We're thinking of her friends and family in the communities that are hurting and grieving her loss. We know that police violence disproportionately impacts Black and Latino people in communities, and that Black women and girls, like Black men and boys, experience higher rates of police violence. So our focus is on working to address systemic racism.
And now this headline from an op-ed in the New York Post. Jen Psaki baselessly and disgracefully radicalized the killing in Columbus. Senator Kennedy, what do you say about that headline?
Immeasurably, not the headline. What President Biden has done is immeasurably reckless and foolish. He's gone full wokerista. He has joined those people who believed that America was wicked in its origins, and that the American people are even more wicked today. That we have millions of Americans who are racist and misogynistic and ignorant, especially if they didn't vote for him. And the wokeristas who Mr. Biden has joined have contempt for America. They should have gratitude. And I am very, very disappointed in President Biden. I knew he would be left of center. I didn't know he'd be left of Lenin. And he knows better. He knows better.
Wow. I think the wording that you're using, the wokerista, that is going to be something that people will be quoting and thinking about all day long. Senator Kennedy,
the president
thank you
is
for
encouraging this, Harris. He's got to stop it. He's encouraging this radical thinking that America is bad. The American people are not perfect, but they're good.
So what would you say directly to the president? Because let's just step back for a moment and give you a few more seconds to express this. Because we even saw the prosecution in the Derek Chauvin case not bring up race in the case or in his closing arguments. And that was talked about by some. Congressman Maxine Waters turned it into that type of an event for her own purposes, one would imagine. We don't know. So your last words.
I would tell President Biden, Mr. President Biden, you're a smart man, and you didn't get to be your age with your experience and not know this is nonsense. America is not rotten to its core. We're not perfect, but we are good. And you're turning our diversity, which is one of our strengths, into a division. And some say, Mr. President, I'm not accusing you, purely for political reasons. And it's wrong, and you know it's wrong. It's not worth it, Mr. President. Lead. Don't just follow and do what the wokeristas tell you to do.
Senator Kennedy from the great state of Louisiana on the program today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Harrison.